And it's all unfolding after the US attacked Iran, and Iran responded in devastating fashion. And we need to discuss what is unfolding now and the cost to Israel and the US. Is Mustafa. My name is Stella Falabi. Welcome to another political show.
Okay, so we're going to look at what this war is going to cost Israel if it goes up to 1 month. A lot of people think it could go more than 1 month. We're going to look at 1 month. But before we go to 1 month, the first day of the war, the first 24 hours cost 750 million to 1.1 billion dollars in estimated cost for their offensive attack. They had three arrow interceptors, which are 3.5 million per missile. David Sling, approximately 1 million per interceptor. Iron Dome, 50,000. So when we look at this, the overall offensive expenditure to this was 200 million. Then when you look at the damage sustained by them and add up everything, like I said, it's almost up to 1 billion. If this war goes on for even a month, it's going to cost, what was it, Afalabi? It's going to cost up to 20 billion,
$20
12,
billion.
20 billion for 1 month. And also, it's going to involve. I hear that Israel is already planning to enlist 100,000 troops. So the question we have to ask is: it worth it for them, and can they handle this? Because after a month, it's going to increase their deficit GDP to 8 to 10% of a deficit for the economy, and also it's going to scare foreign investors from investing in Israel. Israel depends a lot on foreign investment, especially for IT and things like this. So the question we want to ask is Israel willing to go down this path? Because this will absolutely ruin their economy and cause a lot of people to leave. And they have to ask themselves, is it worth it? And there's no guarantee this war will end after a month. This is day two. Day one was $1 billion, but in day two, we're seeing pictures of buildings burning in Tel Aviv. People in Israel are no longer safe. And the Khomeini is dead, so that now Iran is hell bent on taking this war to Israel, taking it to the Emirates, bombing places. So all we're saying is that Israel, if you really do want this war, that's fine. But the question is, it's going to cost you a lot. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? So the question that we would not ask, and I'll ask you, Fabi, is it worth this for Israel? Because the only way this is worth it is if Iran is an existential threat to Israel. I'm not sure if they are, but these numbers just don't make any sense to me. Can you give us some more summary on the numbers and the impact of this war in Israel, Fabi?
Yeah, basically, I don't think it's worth it really because Israel is already stretched. I mean, to breaking point from the other campaigns and the wars they're involved in. I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. And apart from all the numbers you reeled out, I mean, the interceptors, the David Sling and Iron Dome, and the cost it would be to Israel, because the strategy Iran using here is to overwhelm the defense system of Israel with a barrage of missiles, and that is wearing them down and it's costing them a lot of money. In terms of infrastructure, reports indicate that there was a direct hit on the shrapnel and the civilian buildings too. Early estimates suggest reconstruction cost exceeding $400 million for buildings that were, hit. Then casualties and evacuations. Over 5,000 civilians have been evacuated from high-risk areas. And if you look at all this, it's really the humanitarian efforts is going to cost them a lot of money. Minor damage was reported at military facilities, though the IDF has stated that operational capabilities are still ongoing. So it's going to cost Israel a lot of money. And the reason is because they've already been stretched in their campaign in the Gaza stuff and every other war they've been involved in. I don't know. I think Israelis themselves they are not cut out for this war. It's all about Netanyahu. It has been a long-term dream for him, to do this. And he basically dragged Trump into this. And it's not going to help him because, I mean, like you rightly mentioned, they have expatriates that are working in IT and civilian companies, and basically all these guys are going to move to safer places. All these people are going to move to safer places, basically.
Yeah, and I'm going to give a summary of all of this. So here's the timeline cost. First 24 hours, 1 billion immediate munitions and fuel. If it goes to a 1 week, it's going to be 4 to 6 billion major productivity loss, defense restocking. If it goes to 1 month, 12 to 20 billion dollar structural deficit potential long-term tech flight. In short, while Israel's economy is historically tough, a month-long war with a regional power like Iran is a different beast entirely than previous conflicts in Gaza or Lebanon. It would require multiple decades to recover. And they're going to lose a lot of interest. They're going to lose a lot of investment. And this is going to push Israel back. So once again, I'm saying I understand that Israel wants to protect itself from its enemies. But during a period in which the United States was meeting Iran for peace treaties, Israel and the U.S. the next day bomb Iran with supposedly a surprise attack, and they're meeting heavy retaliation. We have to ask ourselves, is it really worth it? Iran has never had a war of aggression on Israel. What I mean is that they've never attacked Israel for no reason. It's always been in retaliation. And I want to ask the people of Israel who are living in Tel Aviv, who are watching your buildings fall, the people who died, who watched your country, first of all, start off by killing 40, no, even more than 40, I think it's about 80 school children in Iran. Do you approve of what your government's doing? Do you approve of your government striking during a period of peace talks? Okay. Do you approve of aggression against a country that's never taken aggression against you, but allowing countries like Saudi Arabia, which have funded terrorism that's killed Jewish people and American people? Is it really worth destroying your whole economy? Because once you go down this road, there's no coming back from it. And we know that the people of Israel are good people, Story. But yeah, let's just say they're good people. The people of Israel are good people, but you're allowing someone who's dying from a cancer. Netanyahu, there are rumors that he's dying and he looks frail. You're allowing an old man who's trying to dodge criminal charges to draw you into a war that puts your country into more danger. And if you don't defeat Iran and there's not a regime change, most likely the Iranian Guard are going to take over all of Iran, and they are more anti-Semitic than anything you would have ever seen. So you have to ask yourself, is it really worth putting yourselves in this much danger, or would it have been better to sit down, to talk to Iran, and to make sure that they didn't enrich their uranium to a point where they made nuclear weapons when you also have it? I don't know the answers to this question, but now we're down this road. Let's wait and see. You guys can watch our show from month to month, and I'll be telling you what the cost has been to you, Israel. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, and
I don't know my address.
it looks like the longer this goes, Israel might have to borrow heavily to sustain this war. Because I mean, I would imagine all these campaigns would have gotten them into a lot of debt. And I don't think the US will be willing to continue to extend hand of fellowship to them for this kind of campaign. And then if you look at it, the Iranian government, to me, they're a perfectly rational regime. I don't see why it is that, I mean, the US and Israel are so hell-bent in taking out the regime. They can, they can actually sit down and find a middle ground here. But I don't know. I dare say it's because of maybe it's because of the oil of the Middle East. The US and Israel want to control the Middle East oil. In my own opinion, I think that's part of the reason, because I don't see why they had to hit Iran. They can even try and see if they could sponsor an insurrection from within, but not a direct attack on Iran. Because I mean, it's a rational regime. I don't see why this has to go this route.
No, and actually by bombing, and the first thing you did was to kill the Khamenei, the Ayatollah. What you did was you ensured that there won't be an insurrection because you've unified all the warring factions. I'm using the word war metaphorically. The warring factions, all the disparate factions in Iran now are unified because an outsider came in and did this. And let me tell you something, Israel. Once America pulls out of this war, you will too. Because I'm saying this to you people in Israel, you should love America because everything that's going on in your country, your schooling, your military, your healthcare, getting your teeth done, everything is funded by the United States. So once they pull the plug, the war will be over and you should be celebrated because once this war is over, you can go to rebuild yourself, stop doing your genocide in Palestine, and figure out how to live peaceably with your neighbors because now your neighbors are going to remember what you've been doing to them for decades. But I have a feeling that they will believe in peace because Islam is a religion of peace. Hebrew is a religion of peace. Zionism is a religion of war, and it has to end. Thank you. What are your last thoughts, Afolabi?
Okay, so basically, this is still unfolding, and I don't see how Israel and the US are going to come out of this very quickly. I think it's going to be a long drawn war, and it's becoming multifaceted now because we're now beginning to look at the United African Emirates and bases, military bases. Yes, American military bases that have now become legitimate targets. all for something that they weren't down with. So the news will continue to unfold. I don't see how they're going to come out of this without catastrophic injuries. You already showed me some links from the internet saying that American soldiers have already been killed. I mean, nobody signed for this. I don't think there's support for this in the US internally. Trump just seems to brazenly carry out this kind of things, and I don't think that they supported him. This is without congressional approval, really, but that's the way Trump does his things. You never know.
So we'll be back for Free Practice 2 tomorrow. Take us out, Falabi.
Another brilliant show. We have been discussing the unfolding events in the Middle East, the attack on Iran, and their immediate response, decisive on the US and Israel. And from Mustafa and myself, we'll be back again.
Yeah.